This episode of Super Pulp Science has been brought to you by Ollie and the Missing Who's, an upcoming kids book written by Susan Wolfe, illustrated by Justin Curry, and edited by Sam Biko. Available online at chasingartwork.com.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. I'm here with my long-suffering co-host, Justin Curry, and my long-suffering producer, Dan Vadeboncoeur.
Hey, nice pronunciation there.
Thank you.
Neither of us are planning to murder you.
So,
That's for sure.
About name pronunciation, I'm just going to skip past the murder talk that we were talking about before the podcast. I was in, where was I?
Nashville.
I was in Nashville, and name pronunciation became a key element in my day there. I found out that everyone involved in one of these, well, in the Babymetal book project was pronouncing my name incorrectly, but it was fine because I'd been pronouncing everybody else's name incorrectly as well. So somebody, my publisher, in fact, who I've been working with now for like more than a year and a bit, turned out I've been pronouncing his name wrong every time I introduced him to people.
Oh, no.
He just
He's
like
too polite.
Yeah, he was just too polite. And then when he started saying my name, he was saying it wrong, but I wasn't too polite. I corrected him, and then I heard other people say his name, and then it turned out that I was the jerk in the whole situation. And then it turns out I've been saying Kai Kobayashi all this time, but it's actually Kei Kobayashi. And so what a great fun time of everyone correcting everyone else's pronunciations on the project.
But you had the Kobayashi part right because it's Kobayashi Maru.
Kobayashi Maru, the Star Trek fan in me
that
means that I will never get that wrong, yeah. So let that be a lesson to everyone out there. It's okay to pronounce a name incorrectly, but it's not okay once you've been corrected to keep pronouncing it incorrectly.
And it's okay to correct people. I mean, I do it all the time. I'm sure you do it all the time. It's just, part of having a difficult name to pronounce. Yeah. You just have to be aware that, hey, by the way, it's Vadeboncoeur or Vadeboncoeur or whatever you want to.
Yeah,
those two are acceptable. Not Vadeboncoeur or whatever else. Yeah, I've heard a million of them.
Yeah,
the only place to get it right is in St. Boniface. So
right, and and some people so there was Sridhar, Kay, Elizabeth. Everyone called her Liz, but she actually prefers Elizabeth. Everyone was calling me Greg. I prefer Gregory. Everyone was saying my name in every variation of Kamichek you can imagine except Kamichek. And so there was just we just had this big laugh around the table where everyone said their names properly, and we made an effort for the rest of the trip to say each other's names properly.
Very nice.
But the reason I bring this all up is because as publishing becomes increasingly international, you run into those. I wouldn't even call it an issue. It's just par for the course that you're going to meet people and their names are going to be, to you, exotic, but to them, pedantic. And you just have to do your best.
Yep.
What's the worst pronunciation of your name?
I mean, like I said, it's been. They'll look. The worst is actually when they go, "Whoa, how do you say that?" Like that's like it's been this horrible curse my entire life of this last name that nobody could possibly pronounce properly. That's the worst. So I'd rather them give it a try than say that.
Are you Mr. V at school?
No, they call me Dan. It's my students are adults. We do Mr. Miss Ms. whatever. It's Dan.
So you just there's no respect at the school. You just straight to first name.
No respect.
No respect. All right, Justine. Have you ever had any trouble with your name?
Actually, yeah, Justine. Actually, I don't know what it is, but when people email me, they add an E on the end of my name, and I've been called Justine like a silly amount of times.
That's probably an autocorrect thing, though.
Yeah, but it's just like I don't know. That's a weird one. But last name Curry haven't had too much problems with that one.
So it's interesting. Now I realize, as I'm asking you about this, branding is a big deal for you.
Oh yeah.
Does it feel like a slight to your personal brand when someone gets your name wrong?
Nope.
No.
Well, actually,
because you have a bigger heart than this.
Kind of a cool benefit is everybody thinks my name is Chase. Everybody, even people that I've known at conventions, I keep running into them
people
from
call you that. That's right.
Months and months and months of, or even years of seeing these people every weekend. And I guess we never really properly introduced ourselves, or if we did it, we kind of forgot about it. And so they just assume my name is Chase, and they introduce me to other people as Chase. And
now, does it bother you if people get the name of your brand wrong, like say Chasing Artworks or something like that, or they chase the artwork or something like that? If they change that around,
I think it's versatile enough that that doesn't really.
As long as there's Chase in there and artwork in there, it's okay.
The most common thing would be Chase Artworks, and that, like, when I started out, that was what I was calling myself, was Chase Artworks.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why I started off that way, and then eventually confirmed it as Chasing Artworks, and I think it was a domain thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, domain thing, cool.
Yeah.
That's how many brand decisions have been shaped by the availability of a domain name?
Oh my God, too many.
It's pronounced Frankenstein.
Do you also say Froderick?
No. Frederick. You must be Igor.
No, it's pronounced Igor.
We all Justin and I just got back into the studio. We haven't seen each other in a few days. We went our separate ways while we were traveling. You were where?
I got into Odafest. I'd been on a wait list, and I found out about 6 days before the show that they had some cancellations, and I was going to be able to attend. So it was kind of I was not mentally prepared to be going to another city and doing a show, and then suddenly it was happening.
And then you were traveling.
So it was kind of a great surprise, because I love Calgary. As somebody who travels a lot now, that's an incredibly easy, low-stress trip for me.
Calgary's an easy city.
Whereas had you talked to me like in 2010, airports really stressed me out, and traveling was scary, and I hated it.
Just 2010, eh? So one of the things I wanted to talk about today was how travel can change a person, and like the travel aspect. We've talked about like getting ready for shows, but I think there's another level of it. We are in different situations in that Catherine is away for you for like a month still.
Yeah,
so
we're at the halfway mark until I see her again. But,
okay,
yeah.
So you have like no dependents except for Opal, and she's like the easiest, greatest studio dog ever, and so no basic responsibilities at home. Whereas I have my lovely wife and 2 children waiting at home for me. So every time I go away, it creates a much different dynamic. And I've been thinking about that more. I got home yesterday from so I had been in Nashville. I'd flown to Toronto, stayed there for a day, then flew to Nashville, was there for 2 days, then came home, then went out to my family's cabin for a couple of days because my wife had, wasn't going to wait around for me to come home. So she took the kids out and went to her family's cabin in another part of Ontario. And so...
Did you get that oil change done?
We did, yes.
Okay,
yeah, I did, yeah. Happy wife, happy life. The point I'm making here, though, is that when I come home, it's a very different scenario because it's, where were you? What needs doing? Like there's the parts of being a dad that you have to catch up on, part of being a husband that you have to catch up on, part of being a homeowner that you have to catch up on, part of being like just a halfway decent human being that you have to catch on because you've been missing so much. And I've been thinking about that a lot more lately because I got home, and for the first time in a long time, it was it had been, the amount of travel has become a problem.
It was a little too much?
Yeah, it was a little too much. Like I was sort of fine, but the rest of the people that I had abandoned were less fine.
Just to kind of fill everybody in, like the last 6 weeks of your life, 5 of those, we've had events of some kind on the weekend.
In some other city, yeah.
You're gone for the weekend, and then it's that week leading up kind of gets eaten up preparing for that. So even though we're only, if you looked at it on paper, we're only working 3 days a week.
Right.
It's, a couple dozen hours, like, prepping for that, getting ready for that. So a couple of those days are eaten up as well. Yeah.
But not only that, you've been traveling for non-con purposes as well. Like I saw like all you have to do is follow his Instagram story, people, and you can see everything that Gregory does. It's like, yeah, his whole life is there
with no notation.
I knew everything you just described. I knew it all because I'd seen it on your Instagram story. Kind of creepy, actually. But but you went up north for something. What was that thing you went up north for?
I was in Nepal, doing outreach. for, we had done the book, David Alexander Robertson and I had done Will I See, and so we got invited to the College of the North to talk to, like, do some master classes basically with some kids there about like how to be what they can't see, basically.
And then you were invited to is it UCLA?
To UCLA.
To do a panel there.
Yeah.
And then you also went to Nashville. It was not for a con, but it was to do Babymetal stuff. So it was like, that's not the normal like weekend con stuff.
That's right. That was added on top of the regular
that's
travel.
the issue, right? That's normally you're like, okay, I've got like how many cons do you do? How many out-of-town cons do you usually do a month?
Out-of-town cons? Like in a month? Well, I don't know.
In a
year, I do about 25 shows, and I guess about 20 of those are out of town. Is that right?
And just a reminder, there's only 52 weeks in the year.
That's right.
I was talking to my friend Drake
In case I
this weekend,
forgot.
and we were talking about how many shows we were doing a year, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm around 33, 35 shows. And I'm like, that's more than half your weekends. There's only 52 weeks in a year. And he's like, no, there's more. There's got to be more. Oh, my God, there's got to be more. Do I work that much? Oh, my God.
Drake works a lot.
There's more than 52 weeks in a year.
He does work a lot. Yeah.
It was
only on the leap year. There's an extra day in there. But
I feel like I shattered his world when I
you could say all kinds of things about the Corkulicious brand, but laziness is not one of the things that could stick. That's for sure. Yeah, and it's like you say. So I think because, the purpose of our podcast is to talk about people who might want to do this kind of thing as a living, there are some, for lack of a better way to frame it, there are problems with success. Like you kind of reach a bubble where, you're chasing that next piece. And in order to do it, you have to be available. You have to be present. There are things you shouldn't say no to, which means it takes up your time.
Let me ask you this. Would it be possible, now you made the decision to leave your career as a teacher to become an artist full-time a few years ago. Would this be possible if you did not do out-of-town shows?
Like this as a job?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a part of the job. If you want
It is my job.
Yeah. But if you want, and same with you, Justin, if you want to do this for a living, there's a good chance you're going to have to travel to out-of-town conventions and events to sell your work. You have to. It's not possible.
Even if you live, we have friends who live in LA, which is, if you want to do an event in LA every weekend, there's probably, enough little conventions and flea markets and craft sales and stuff like that. Even so, you got to travel. You can't just stay put.
Yeah, no, and then part of it is also because local people will, you've got a good local audience here, but you want to grow your audience, and the best way to do that is to travel to other cities. So this is a part of the job. This is something you have to put up with.
And it's something that I can say that, my wife and I, my family and I, we made, it wasn't a decision that we took lightly. It wasn't one we made without consultation with each other, but there is a difference between the reality and the theory, right? So like theoretically, if you say to your loved ones, like 20 weekends of the year I'll be gone, they say, yeah, that's probably fine. But the reality of it sometimes, if a number of things stack up that you like, the incomparable. So, for example, some things that have made it harder was that my son had a grievous dental injury. While I was away in the PA, he fell in the playground, hit his front teeth on a stump in front of him, and ripped one of his teeth,
ouch,
roots and all, right out of his face.
Ow.
So to add to the problem, the staff at the school called my wife and said they didn't realize that, so Finley's only 7, right? They didn't realize that his 2 front teeth were coming in. They were not missing. They were coming in. So they called and said he fell, he ripped out all of his front teeth. Oh, my God, there's blood everywhere. You have to get here. Like, this was how they called Tara.
I don't mean to laugh at your son's pain, but that's like a horrible. I can just imagine getting that call as a parent, just like, oh
exactly,
my God.
Right? So being away is not a big deal, right? But when you have come to rely on the support of your spouse and then they are completely unavailable during a crisis, and all you can do is call them, and all that person, in this case me, can do is say, oh my God, that's horrible, and then worry. Right? It creates tension. So we had a number of scenarios like that just happened to line up with me being away. So it's been like, I've been away 5 weeks in a row, and there's been like 5 crises that have lined up to the point where Tara just said, you know what, this Friday, I'm going to take the kids out of school and we're just going to hang out together so that we can break the cycle of every Friday that you're away, something bad happens in the house or to the kids, right? You get almost superstitious about it.
Are you going somewhere this weekend?
No, this weekend I'm staying put.
Okay,
My
there
butt,
we go.
Yeah, in the chair, making pages, looking after the kids, making lunches and taking them to school like I did this morning. Yeah, for sure. Not going anywhere this weekend or next weekend. I've got 2 weekends in a row where I don't have anything.
Nice.
And it shouldn't seem so shocking.
True.
Right?
But yeah, it's just, again, I just think it's been a bad, just been a busy few weeks for you. I don't think this is going to be the norm. Or is it? Is this
no.
going to be
well, and that's the thing.
September will kind of be like this again. We have like April, May is really busy for us. The summer is usually pretty quiet.
Yeah.
August, September, and October are usually pretty full.
Those are the bonkers.
And then,
months,
from November to March is sleepy. It's like not much going on. So we have like 3 big clumps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I bring it up because, I keep a pretty, as a family, and I think it's important to do so, we keep a pretty well edited social media presence. We don't leave bad news online, really.
Yeah.
But if the podcast purpose is to help somebody else say, do I want this as a job? Maybe this will prompt them to have a conversation earlier about what the real pitfalls might be, right? And maybe the thing to say to your spouse is, I might be missing when a crisis happens. How will we deal with that? That's definitely not something that we had conversations about. Because, generally speaking, my
Don't
wife
want to talk about that kind of stuff.
Well, no, but Tara's pretty damn great in a crisis. Like she handled, and there hasn't been a thing that's gone wrong that she didn't handle. But it's just the idea that when you get into a marriage, right, it's so that you can handle that stuff together.
Woman. Friend. Why?
Catherine's very involved when I'm planning out the schedule, and she knows like how much time I'm going to be spending away from home, and she's very, very supportive at first, but then when it's happening, it's tough being away from, the significant other.
Well, and in your case, wasn't there like a missile attack where not far from where she is in Israel right now?
They keep them pretty safe. They have a lot of protection in place, and when stuff like that happens, they get them out of the city and they take them on tours and distract them with the Dead Sea and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd like to say they've all been pretty safe. Have you guys thought about or talked about when the kiddos get a bit older, going on some of these trips together?
I'm shaking my head vigorously. Yes.
How does that conversation go? Like how do you see that potentially working? And
well, they're not old enough yet to be of use, right? And we can laugh.
They can't really carry much around,
right? So the first couple times, the conversation has been around if they come, in the next couple of years, since they can't be of use. What use will it be to them to have come? Like, what experience will they gain from it that's positive for them, right?
Yeah,
so
if it's just going to stress you out, and then
if it's just going to stress me out, then will I then in turn be, a disengaged parent while they're there, and then will they feel like, why did we have to come to this where dad's grouchy and we're bored? So instead, the conversation is, what shows can we plan to do where it will be fun and engaging for them to have an experience where they have some freedom and they have some ability to move around and go into the city and do things that are fun for them, and they can learn about how kind of wonderful travel can be, and some aspect of the job that they wouldn't normally see, kind of like a bring your kids to work day. That's fun.
Do you ever bring them to local conventions when you go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we did actually the one show where they were so excited to come and spend the whole time at was EnterCon.
Yeah.
There was this little Transformer show. It may not be big, but it's small, and so it was the perfect kind of show to bring them because it was geared for kids. It was all about Transformers. they were super into they still are super into Transformers, and like original Transformers figures they just think are the coolest because they're made out of metal.
Yeah.
And they're like, and so they spent the whole time, and they were telling all their friends like, oh yeah, we're going to work this weekend with Dad, and I told them they'll be helping me sell and do all that. Really, it was a small enough show that no matter what was going on, I could see them wherever they were.
Yeah.
So, and I could and anytime there was a parenting moment that was required, right? I disengaged from my table and I went and solved that issue. They're very well-behaved children, though, so I didn't have too much.
Yeah, mine are pretty good as well in public. They did come to FanQuest last year, and while I was working the show, and I felt that, and I've done this before. Whenever my family, they don't stay for the whole day or the whole weekend, but they do come and visit and come and check out the show and stuff. And I find I have to kind of disengage from the con and just kind of spend some time as a dad, kind of with them, looking around and stuff, which is not ideal if you're running a con, but it's kind of like taking a break, right? You just take a break from everything and kind of, okay, I'm just going to be spending like the next hour with my family. If there's anything crazy that happens, let me know. But what I've noticed at various cons that I've worked and organized, a lot of vendors bring their children with them because they don't have a babysitter and they don't want to, it's fun for the kids. But then they all kind of gravitate towards the video game.
That's true. Yeah.
And I remember one in particular where I was running this kind of video game area, and it was just basically became like the daycare for the con. It was like all these kids just kind of hanging out there, and it was like, I guess this is fine, but
So I feel like there's a space at shows that doesn't exist that could
Just
exist.
a bunch of
by the way,
chairs
we are working on a kids area for FanQuest. We're going to have them doing all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Fan art and cardboard cosplay and stuff like that, so the kids can actually just do some actual fun stuff.
One pro tip for anybody, dear listeners, who is planning on doing shows and thinks, oh, you mean I can bring my kids? Most during the load-in period before the show,
right?
Kids are not allowed.
Yeah, that's not a great time to bring
right?
kids.
Because there's forklifts and cars and trucks and things cruising around on the show floor, and an unattended child, that's a danger.
Yes.
So if you have a child with you, they will, have to leave it, so they'll have to stand by the door or they'll have to stay at the booth. There's no wandering around that can be done with a small child. So no unattended children during load-in. But traveling, there's a whole other, you bring it up. Flying with kids to a show would be, I think, problematic at best.
Well, it's expensive. One of the things we've learned about traveling with a family is that to fly somewhere, we've done it. We went to Florida a couple of years ago. It is like way more expensive than obviously flying as a couple or flying by yourself. We do weigh the options of, okay, can we drive this? Every time we look at going somewhere, we consider the road trip aspect of it, and more often than not, we'll do the road trip just because it takes longer, but it is just more cost effective. But
I also manage my fatigue during travel time, so shows are long and they take a lot of energy. So leading up to a show, I usually sleep in the airport. I sleep on the plane.
Yeah.
I sleep in the cab.
Can't do that with kids, though.
No, and if you're, managing family on the way, then you're going to arrive somewhat. At least I would arrive with half the battery
whenever you
power.
travel with the family, especially if it's flying, you arrive at your hotel and you just just wanted to just pass out and turn on, Cartoon Network for the kids and have a nap or something.
You kids can't keep your heads to yourself. I'm gonna turn this car around and there'll be no Cape Canaveral for anybody. That's it. Back to Winnipeg.
I went to Nashville, which, have you ever been to Nashville?
I've not.
Have you been to Nashville? Okay, so for the two Canadians in the room, I'll describe Nashville to you. All right?
Are we all Canadians?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but not all our listeners are Canadians.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
I'm just giving them some context here. Nashville is Winnipeg, right? Feels like Winnipeg by way of Vancouver, set in southern Ontario.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow.
Right? That is Nashville. And then on top of that, party buses and so many what's the word? Bachelorette parties. Like bachelorette parties, like to the point of almost nausea. There are so many bachelorette parties.
Could be the time of year, though. It could
Nashville.
just be this time of year.
No, I was told on the way. There were 3 bachelorette parties on the plane. On the way to Nashville, I was on the plane. And the stewardess said, yeah, all the flights to Nashville are always like this. That this has become a thing in Nashville. And I thought, aha, that's so funny. And then we were all over different parts of the city, and everywhere we'd turn, another bachelorette party would come out of some venue or some place in various states of disarray. And
wow, but isn't it like, I know that maybe the stereotype is country music, but I know it is the capital of country music, isn't it?
It is.
Like, there's
Yeah,
a lot
Willie
of
Nelson
country
played while we were there, but it also is just there's a lot of great recording studios there, a lot of famous ones, and it's sort of a hub of music in general.
Okay, not just country. Okay.
Right. And so I was there for the Babymetal concert.
So what's the Babymetal concert crowd like? What's the...
Okay, so yeah. So I was there. I had no idea what to expect because, exactly like you said, Nashville in my mind is a country music hub. So who will show up for Babymetal, right? How will that be? Babymetal, by the way, dear listeners, the reason I was in Nashville, it was the closest place between, Japan and Winnipeg where I could meet with Kei Kobayashi and talk about the project. So that's why Nashville. The crowd was, I had to say, so I'll just give you a little bit of the story here. So we arrive at the venue, and there is a lineup like 2 blocks long, and there are people just, like 5 people deep that's just hungry for Babymetal, which was cool to see. And we were walking past that line, and so first they were kind of annoyed at us because
Were you thinking about the eventual merch table while you were walking?
No, I was not immediately thinking about that. No, what I was thinking about...
Not in a greedy way, just like in an exciting...
Well, okay, but this is why I was excited. So there's a certain demographic of people who show up to my table at shows, and as I'm walking, I'm seeing sort of like, quote unquote,
people?
those people. My people are all in this lineup, and I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, this is amazing. And so I turn to Sridhar and I say, like, these are my people. Oh, I'm so excited. Like, they haven't seen any artwork from the book, but these are the kind of people who would show up at my table and be excited. And he looks at me with this, like, like this dry, calm, I told you so. He's like, yeah, well, there's a reason we picked you. Right? Like, we didn't just throw a stone. The reason your work came up is because we believe that it pairs nicely with the aesthetics that the crowd will also appreciate. And I'd never felt so, like, proud and also, like, maneuvered at the same time. It was like a weird, it's like how I'm sure people with actual talents, right, feel like placed in front of a crowd, and then it was really neat. So anyway, we go into the venue, and everyone is just like so excited, and there are tons of kids there too. So all these metalheads with their kids on their shoulders, and their kids have like these big ear protecting headphones. And it's the one thing I thought was like, oh my God, look at all these kids. I hope they're thinking about of course they are, because they go to metal shows, so they know to protect their kids' ears, and there they are all wearing them up on their shoulders. And I thought that was a really, like, I've been to a lot of music shows, and it's very rare that, like, at a metal show that there's going to be the parents bringing their kids to also.
You don't see that a lot. No.
And so that was a really, like, unintended benefit of the whole thing was seeing that. And then there was a moment where they just played like a single riff in the guitar, and the entire crowd starts singing, like, in Japanese, right? Right along with I was blown away. Like, people really were into it. They really dug it. It was not like people had come for the curiosity of, like, what is this? But these were people who were fans, like hardcore fans. There were great pains taken. We originally had this VIP seating just to, I guess, stage left, where we had, like, right up close to the band we would have been. But then Kay came out and saw us and said, are you happy with these seats? In a way that meant that we knew that he wasn't happy with these seats for us, And he says, like, you will be, you'll feel special and close to the band here, but you won't, like, this was through a translator. So Yasu was explaining to us, like, you'll see the band up close, but you won't experience the story from this vantage point. And so they moved us to seats that were above the sound booth. So we had, like, right in the center, about midway up, and we got to see the whole show from that. So you could see the lights, you could see the smoke, you could see the choreography, and the show is layered with, there was like kung fu, and there's like battling guitars, and there's or I guess it would be karate.
It would be karate.
Yeah,
I was just
karate.
going to correct you, but
And this elaborate visual story that's being told by all these moving parts on the stage. And so I was very thankful that we got this vantage point. It was really quite special. But the stares of the people when they would recognize, who he was and try to figure out who the heck we were, as if we were somehow special, and we weren't that special. We're just a couple of graphic novelers, right? That was an interesting, experience. I got that with Iskway a little bit when we were doing Will I See. I saw a show. I got invited to a show of theirs in Toronto, and I was on the list as if I was with the band, right? So I come up backstage, like, who are you? Because they know everyone in Iskway's crew, so they were like, who are you? And they were like, oh, he's with the band. Well, what does he do? And they're like, he draws. And they just like scratch their head and let me in. So, interesting thing. There's like music and comics fans. Like you run a show called FanQuest. Like the idea of fandom has become a cultural phenomenon that I don't think any of us were ready for when we were young.
No, and it's funny you mentioned that because let's see how this goes. You guys have seen like the things on Facebook where people say 10 albums in 10 days. These are the 10.
Yeah.
So we're doing something with FanQuest where we do 10 fandoms, and I think I tagged you in a post this morning about it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but
but I've been called out now.
Yeah.
No. But the idea is that instead of 10 albums, is 10 fandoms. So 10 fandoms that stayed with you throughout your life. And I started with Star Trek, and so I'm going to be posting a different one every day.
Remember, what were they called? Insectors? Insector? I think that's what it was called.
Insectors.
Insector.
Is that a toy?
I remember the toys.
Yeah,
okay,
they were
also
toys.
help me out.
They were
There used to be
incredible.
the Winnie the Pooh hour, and there was some bears.
How did you get there? Gummy bears?
Gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
Was it actually gummy bears?
It was
And
gummy bears.
Everything
they
here
would
and
drink
there and everywhere,
gummy
man.
juice and
Yep.
High adventure that's beyond compare.
There's a cover of
They
that
were the
theme
Gummy
song. There's one that I think was a Conan O'Brien. The singer is blanking. Alicia Keys does a cover of that song.
Really?
The Gummy Bears theme song. It's so good. Look that up on YouTube.
I know
Yes.
what you just brought up, like fandoms that stuck with you your whole life. And I'm
Yes.
just thinking, like, what do I remember from back in my childhood? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yes.
and then the Gummy Bears and Winnie the Pooh hour was like a big one too. And of course, there's others, but I don't know.
For sure, yeah.
Couldn't remember the name.
And certainly Babymetal would be one of those fandoms as well. Like, and I think of everything other than sports. Although sports is a fandom as well. We just had in the city here a big.
Oh my God, yeah.
We have actually. I find it quite refreshing that every time I come over here to do a podcast with you guys, nobody ever mentions the Jets. And it's not that you
thank
guys
you.
aren't sports fans, but for the last couple of months here in Winnipeg, we've had our hockey team go very deep into the NHL playoffs, and it's been a really big deal everywhere. And that's a sports fandom, but I'm thinking of fandoms outside of sports.
It has been pretty inspiring to see how much the city got swept up in it.
Yeah, it was crazy. Now there's still like the Go Jets Go signs all over the city, and like,
But then now they just seem sad.
they do. I mean, take them down, man.
Yeah.
It's done.
They should just change the hashtag to no Jets.
I
no.
wanted to ask that.
Whence Jets went.
If this is California and down here's Texas, that must be like Arizona, maybe.
Want to be driven. Arizona, maybe.
And so, like, fandom as a like experience, you can like you enter it and you leave it around the hype,
Yeah.
right? And so there's this. So one of my reticence around doing this Babymetal project with such a rabid fandom is that the project is to keep the creative process sort of safe. Has been shrouded in secrecy these many months. And the first image, this podcast will be out after the announcement where we show the first image from the book will be released on social media tomorrow. And so there have been a large number of pre-orders for the book with only the title and my name attached. They have no idea what's inside of it. And so my fear is, of course, that you'll have these thousands of people who pre-ordered this book see the work and say, oh.
Do you want Sam
no.
and I to like go through the reactions and filter them for you?
No, because I have a long way to go before the book is finished.
Or maybe if I would recommend you just leave it alone. Like don't check on it.
Yeah, I'm not going to check. My plan is to try to be
Just
as
ignore it.
insulated from it as possible because I have a lot of work yet to do.
I've heard that Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick Grimes on The Walking Dead, has never watched one of his performances.
Really?
He never watched himself because he's worried it's going to affect his performance. So maybe that's you don't look at the
this is the first time. So like normally with my work, I'm a shameless self-promoter, right? You and I are both like this. Like we work on something.
It's part of the job.
Yeah, it's part of the job. You work on it, and because you're excited about a piece you've done, you share it in your social media, and you get some feedback. But those people aren't necessarily. How do I frame this? The people who are following me on social media up until now have been people who followed me on social media before my work was known at all. Most of them.
Okay.
Right? And so they've been invested in the process of getting somewhere. Now we have all of these like sort of wonderful engaged fans arriving almost like tourists onto the social media to see and find the specific items, and none of them are there right now. And so it's been this very strange place for me as a creative person, because I normally would not be affected by response on social media because the decisions are already made, the book is already finished, I'm sharing stuff for people, no problem. But here we're going to be releasing some images before the final images are made, and the amount, anytime some news breaks about Babymetal, my phone blows up with stuff. So I think tomorrow will be the day that I turn off all those notifications and just try to like be in a bubble, making the work as best that I can. And I guess my question then is to you, Justin. You have a fan base that it's at least as active and at least as activated.
Some days.
How do you, you've been in this position more often than I have.
I've just eyes on you.
Yeah.
Like internet wise.
Yeah.
Tell
me how to deal.
Are you
Give
getting
me
at, like
advice.
kind of the reactions, the feedback, like how that affects one way or another?
Yeah, like having it never
Positively
happened
or
to me, I actually don't even know what to ask. So discuss.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like specific examples.
So like you posted something. Remember, I think one of the first things I saw of yours that went huge viral was something that Stan Winston Studios reposted of yours.
Stan Winston Studios really enjoyed my robotic redesigns of. I had a lineup of the Avengers and a lineup of Batman and some villains redesigned as robots, and so they spent like a solid like couple of months like posting like one at a time and then like the lineup. So it got me a huge amount of attention. It's always like it's like 99% positive stuff. But those 3 negative comments are the ones you remember.
Oh, for
okay,
sure.
And that really bothers me. It doesn't bother me as much anymore because I've talked myself down in my mind that like, why do you care about that? Like, and it's usually a person who's just trying to elicit a response. It's somebody who's just trying to rile up the comment section of a popular post, right?
Yeah.
They're having fun with the internet.
But you're absolutely right about that. Anything I've ever done that I put on social media, all it takes is one negative comment to kind of bring you down. You can have overwhelming positive response from everybody, and then there's the one person saying something, and it might not even be like, it might be a genuine comment, but that would be like, oh man, and it just kills you. And I've spoken to other people about this as well, and I don't know, maybe it's just human nature that we just kind of cling to the negative. It doesn't matter how much positive you get. There's just one negative can kill the whole thing for you.
It's so
I
silly.
definitely recommend turning off, because I think I predict that overwhelmingly the response will be positive to the images being released, Greg. But I think that there inevitably is some negativity from somewhere, and I would rather you not look at that.
Right.
Where what platforms will this? I guess this is going to be released like
all
everywhere.
over. Yeah. There's
But
a long list of media outlets that will receive it, and like music outlets, and like when the book was announced, Hollywood Reporter picked up the story. Like a whole bunch of far outside of regular comic land was talking about it, and I got a lot of messages as a result.
I'm going to ask you a FanQuest related question. Are you going to be able to sell prints of this image at FanQuest?
No, I am not.
No.
You'll
I
be able
will
to
be
show
able
it,
to
though.
show that image though, like the images that are released. So there's a new official Instagram, Twitter, and some social media related specifically to the graphic novel, and so there will be a measured release of those images. And as those are released officially, then I'll be able to show those sort of in person to people, but not for sale.
Okay.
And part of that is it's not that, like no one from Amuse or no one from Babymetal said like you can't sell your original work. Technically in my contract, the original pieces I could sell. For me, it's that I don't sell works in process. Like if the book isn't finished, giving away a piece of it to me, I don't know if it's just a silly superstition or what, but it means that some of it is out there instead of here where it's supposed to be being built.
You don't release the introduction to a film before the film is complete, right? You don't.
And yet
You don't want to sell. You don't want to be selling like clips of the actual cells of the film framed out before
it's done. Yeah. But that being said, I have been contacted by some collectors asking me for specific pages. People have been asking me about, can you share more of your process sketches? People see doodles that I post on my Instagram and say, oh, "Is this from Babymetal?" And only the Fox God knows the answer to some of those things. But the official sort of curated images, it sounds funny because it's not, and I just spent a weekend in Nashville talking to all the people who are making these decisions. It's not really about some sort of hype building. It's that the show itself, which is different from many, musical groups, has a narrative built in to the stage show that changes from show to show. And some of that narrative is present in the graphic novel. So if we release some of that stuff in the wrong order, it's sort of like releasing part of a serialized story out of order. And to be involved in something that has this overarching creative umbrella is really cool because it's not like a licensed project. Like, for example, we were talking hockey earlier. Like if the NHL came to me and said, do an NHL, graphic novel, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But should that have happened, right? There would be a brand package. There would be a paper copy of the do's and don'ts of the colors you can use, of the ways you can show people. There would be this hard copy list to manage the brand. In this case, as an artistic process, there isn't that. There are conversations surrounding the themes, the ideas, the central process of Babymetal as a concept, and it's more like, weaving together some bits of a dream than it is about following a corporate brand, which, dear listeners, is the greatest part of this project that I did not anticipate. If it had been the other thing, if it had been that brand package, I told the publisher right up front, if it's that way, then I'm not interested in doing it. I would like to do a project that has some artistic license available. Unfortunately, that might put me in the crosshairs of people who think I get it wrong.
No, I don't think there's a way you can get it wrong from your perspective. I think of in terms of this whole fandom thing conversation has reminded me of Pablo Hidalgo, who is one of our guests at FanQuest, and he is somewhat of a brand ambassador for Star Wars. He works for Lucasfilm. He is part of their story group, their central story group that makes decisions about the way the story, all the different stories are going for everything, for the comic books, the video games, everything. And he is on Twitter. But he faces a lot of backlash on Twitter for a lot of different things, especially like The Last Jedi, which was probably the most divisive Star Wars movie ever made.
This is not going to go the way you think.
When a property gets to a certain size, or maybe I'll frame a different way. At what point do the fans own the property?
Never.
But wait, have they not created its fame in the first place?
Yes.
And does that not give them some responsibility and some agency? Is it not? I'm being a devil's advocate here, but is it not in a way a type of democracy? They've voted with their dollars to create a thing, and so they have the capacity to weigh in and have a say.
They can weigh in, they can give their opinion, but the creators of the property are not in any way obligated to listen to them.
No, absolutely, they're not obligated to listen, but people are entitled to that voice. I
Absolutely.
think.
No, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but what's the saying? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
Yeah.
So a bit of a problem that
there's a different saying. Hold on. You give everyone your ear, but only a few people your voice.
Oh, okay.
Right.
There you go.
There's less swearing in mine.
A bit of a problem that I have with I think about both Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. They keep making new things about them, like video games and even movies and stuff like that. A bit of a problem I have is that they can't stray from the core concept art and the core designs from like decades ago. Like the new Star Wars movie that came out, there wasn't really any original designs in there. Like the most creative thing they did was the AT-AT now has a bigger foot.
Right.
They can't create that much new content, original like designs and content. And same with like Lord of the Rings. There's so many games where the enemies are the 5 or 6 enemies that you've seen from the movies. There's the cave trolls and orcs and the spiders, and they can't create anything new because it's such a strict branding package. What you were just talking about. You can't really create these new monsters or new characters or new vehicles because we don't want to stray too far away from what we did decades ago.
Something that I am allowed to say about the project is that one of the edicts is the opposite on this Babymetal project, is that
which I think is how you...
It's why I'm excited. It's like what new... Okay, so story and... story, content, and for lack of a better word, the spirit of the story, that's not up to me. But... certain elements along the way, if I am struck with an inspiration about how something should look or how something should feel or some pacing, I am encouraged to run with that feeling and submit those pages. And if they match the feeling, then they're accepted, even though they're technically off script. And that is a tremendous freedom. Now, every now and then you miss the mark, and so you have to redo it. But that is a tremendous amount of freedom. Like, I don't have a style guide.
Yeah.
Right, for the elements in the story. Like there are parameters. I have strict rules to follow, which I look forward to once the book is out, telling everyone what they were, and people can figure out like what twists and turns we took as a result of some rules within the storytelling. But from a creation of an imagery, one of the rules is don't do something that we've seen before. Like, don't rehash something from a video. Don't rehash something from a stage show. Like, the fans have already seen that. They already, in some regards, they've paid for that already. So if we just give that back to them, it does them a disservice. And I think that that's a brave position.
I agree.
To be in.
I agree. I think that in the case of if they were to do that, I wish they would do that with Star Wars or with another one of these properties, and so we could see something different. I agree with you, Justin. I think that they're a little bit hemmed in by what's already been created. They're not.
It's a little stale, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't feel like I've seen a new world in the Star Wars universe.
So many different kinds of stormtroopers.
Yeah.
See everybody, but no.
And if the
that's
mythology is so rich, why not let it? Be wide?
That's a great idea.
The universe is a big place.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny to be saying sentences like this, but the universe of Babymetal is actually is so much bigger than what has been seen, and it's really cool to be involved in something that's at a pivotal stage where they're adding stuff to it.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. But also scary.
Don't do a poor job.
Oh, yeah.
No pressure.
Don't ruin Babymetal,
This is
Greg.
part of my job as a studio mate is keeping your head a little smaller.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, no, but it's true.
I was going to
It's
make
true.
a joke about the outro when you get ready to wrap this up in a second. You can say this has been Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how Babymetal is made because it seems to.
Yeah,
Or unmade.
or unmade. Ouch!
Oh no!
My fears
I'm
realized.
sure you're going to do a fine job.
Fears realized.
No. But the thing is that here, like this is what I was trying to say earlier. There's no way. The only people you have to please are the people that you're working for. They're the ones who are paying you. They're the ones who are. They're the ultimate judges. Clearly, they know their audience. If
Yeah.
they know that the people who go to Babymetal concerts are the same people that are your people that come to your booth, they know their audience. They know what they like. They've made a great decision in hiring you. So don't worry about it.
Well, I will say this: that you said, the people I'm working for. I'm working for another publisher right now, and it feels like I'm working for them. This trip felt like I was working with people. It did
That's
not
awesome.
feel like shut up and do what we say. It felt more like, what do you have to bring to the table? And that was, quite
Refreshing.
gratifying.
That's the way to work.
Yep.
Yeah. How's your owl book?
Owl book is very, very close to being done. I've
What percentage?
98. I would say.
98.
So last week I pretty much completed work on Ollie and the Missing Who's. Yes, Ollie and the Missing Who's. I keep getting the title
sounds so
wrong because
cute.
we changed it a couple times, but it's a sequel to Quackers Wants to Fly. Story about a duck going around the pond. He's impatient to learn how to fly, so he asks all the other flying animals how they learned. One of the characters he asked was an owl. And so in the second book...
Spoiler alert, in the end, he doesn't learn how to fly. He drowns in the pond.
It's really hard to work on kids' books in the studio because Greg always has the most morbid twists and turns he wants integrated in.
I just want it to be real, Justin. I just want some realism.
But the second book, because I believe in the project and I love the author I've been working with, Susan Wolf, I've taken on Ollie as like a partner. I'm doing the work for free and I'm paying for half the print run.
So you started as an employee and
Yeah.
and then you bought into the company.
Yeah, I bought into the company. So the first book, I was being paid for my time, and when I was done, I was done. And the terrible repercussions there were when the book went to a publisher and decisions were made past my work being completed. Things went very, very wrong, and I wish I'd been involved and had a say, but I didn't. And at the end of the day, that publisher is no longer involved, and I got back involved. And now I think things are on track. So I'm excited to have this second book as part of the series because when we go to Comic-Cons, our graphic novels do quite well. But when we go on book tour, Quackers dominates our sales.
Yeah, Quackers is the silver bullet. Dan. If we go to a bookstore,
nobody
and
cares about Cassie and Tonk, Rust and
and-
Water,
and-
Infinitum, none of that. Give me Quackers.
No, it's people scan the table and they'll see everything there from time travel, murder, occult stuff, adventure story. Ooh, a duck. What's this book about a duck? Yeah, it is. Quackers flies off the table. I can tell you that. Yeah.
So I'm chatting with Sue. We're going to phone. She's based in Chicago, so we Skype or we phone like once a week. And so she's seen pretty much the final artwork. So we're going to go over just the last couple changes, and then we're going to get our editor, Sam Biko, to do a once-over as well. And then I think we're pretty much ready to hit print.
Whoa.
And we're printing locally as well, which is nice because I'll be able to do press checks.
Go do the press check.
Yeah.
Hey, my kids were asking about coming to do a press check. I was telling them how that all runs. Maybe this is the right book for it.
Absolutely. We're doing art book bindery for this one, so it'll be like in town. It's not even
that's even better.
Yeah, not even a road trip. Very exciting.
What?
Just realized that I can't say the story I was just going to tell. I can't tell you, but I'll tell you when the mics are off. Well, this has been Super Pulp Science, where we have talked about how Babymetal is made, and we are encouraging you to join the fight and make comics.